Welcome back, fellow shop rats. It's a Talk About It Tuesday, and today we're going to talk about rust. It's a fun topic. It's highly toxic and corrosive sometimes. Let's have fun with it. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
I was recently on a Facebook forum, and I don't remember which one it was, but the fellow was talking about he's looking at a car and it's got a few little rust spots here and there and shouldn't be any big deal to fix. And, well, I'm picturing in my mind what he's seeing and where those rust spots are. I think it was actually an A-body and a Mopar A-body, and I'm realizing this guy doesn't have a lot of experience, and I don't think he knows what he's signing up for. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I don't want him to buy the car and then get all discouraged because things are a lot worse than what he expected them to be. And unfortunately, I'm afraid that's what he's signing up for if he buys this car. Now, don't get me wrong, the car's not a piece of junk and ready for the scrap heap, but it is going to take some fairly significant work, more than what he's realizing. So, of course, me being the ray of sunshine that I am, I decided to maximize my failure and go ahead and just try to burst this guy's bubble right now. Because if he goes into the project with a realistic view of what he's probably signing up for, he won't be as discouraged later. He'll have made a conscious choice for what he's purchasing. The price for the car seemed fairly reasonable. It was a few $1,000s. It's a complete car. It's a running and driving car. But it's got some spots of rust, as I mentioned. Some in the floorboards, a couple spots in the frame, definitely some in the quarter panels and in the lower fenders. And so, like I said, me being the ray of sunshine that I am, I said, I think it's probably a good deal. The car's complete. You've got definite value there for your money. But when it comes to dealing with rust, I've learned to follow the rule of 10. Now, the rule of 10 does break down at a point, because there comes a point when it's not exponential. It almost becomes reductive. But if you see a spot of rust that's, like 4 inches around, I would say that spot is probably 10 times bigger than what you realize. Now, if you're dealing with a rust hole that's 3 feet across, I'm not sure it could get 10 times worse than that. Although stitches maybe is kind of proved to a point that can be true, except I went into that project with the rule of 10, and I've not really found anything on that project that was worse than what I expected. But then again, I'm not wet behind the ears anymore. I knew what I was signing up for when I bought that car. It's a great tension because we make the mistake of looking at a project, and honestly, when we've seen a listing somewhere or we've heard about it, we usually have fallen in love with it, have already decided what the car is going to be like, and that we're going to buy it. And that's the eyes at which we look at it. We look through those eyes at everything we expected it to be, and we usually really miss what's there, which is why I try really hard to follow the rule of 10 and say whatever I'm seeing, it's got to be 10 times worse than this, which is usually true. And then the second thing I try to follow is the 3-day rule. Now, not everybody's going to know where the 3-day rule is. Not everybody's necessarily going to like where it comes from, but quite frankly, I don't care. It's a rule that I follow, and I think it holds true in purchases. I try not to buy something on the first time I see it. I try to look at it, maybe look at it one more time, and then wait 3 days before I actually make a decision. Or if I make a decision, I wait 3 days before acting on that decision and going ahead and making the purchase. Now, if I've decided not to purchase it, then the 3-day rule is pretty much moot. For those who are just itching to know, I get the 3-day rule right out of the Bible, because if Jesus is dead on Friday and raised on Sunday, 3 days can make a big difference. And whether you believe that or not, I happen to, but whether you believe that or not, 3 days is a good waiting period for things to settle and for the emotions to come out and for you to start facing the doubts and start facing realism. And if after 3 days you're still convinced, then go ahead. You still may be making a mistake, but at least you gave yourself some time before you dove headlong into a decision that you might later regret. I've not found the rule of 10 and the rule of 3 to ever fail me. That doesn't mean that I've not made bad decisions. That doesn't mean that I've not missed things. That doesn't mean that people are driving across the parking lot in places they shouldn't because they don't know how to follow lines. That's not where I was going, but I was just annoyed because somebody tried to head on me with this car. But anyway, it doesn't mean that I still don't make bad purchases sometimes, but generally, as a rule of thumb, I don't end up in something that completely blindsides me and wasn't what I expected. If I expect it to be 10 times worse than what it really is, at best I'm pleasantly surprised, but I really can't be disappointed if it's as bad as I thought. So anyway, those are my thoughts today. If you're going to be looking for a basket case car, or even one that just needs some minor work, keep in mind that whatever you see is probably a lot worse than what you think. And if you keep that rule in mind, you won't be discouraged and want to get rid of the project because it was a lot worse than you expected. And if my rule is wrong, you're pleasantly surprised and even happier. So it's winning, so much winning. We should have a winner chicken dinner. All right, that'll do it. I'm here to continue to show you how I just continue to maximize all my mistakes and failures. And this is how I approach things in the hobby. It's been a great Talk About It Tuesday. I appreciate you spending time with me, and we will catch you on the next one. Rock!